Cowboys break the mold, chasing the stories yet untold. Passion ignites like a blazing fire. Knowledge takes us higher, higher. Out of the box where the wild ones play, we see the game in a whole new way. Living loud, hearts in motion. Sports with soul, pure devotion. The field's alive with endless dreams. We're more than stats, we're the in-between. A slam dunk thought, a touchdown mind. Out of the box every time. No limits, no change, no walls to climb. We're rewriting the rules in real time. Out of the box where the wild ones play, we see the game in a whole new way. Living loud, hearts in motion. Sports with soul, pure devotion. No limits, no chains, no walls to climb. We're rewriting the rules in real time. Out of the box where the wild ones play, we see the game in a whole new way. Living loud, hearts in motion. Sports with soul, pure devotion. Every shot's a story, every cheer's a spark. Under the lights we make our mark. Beyond the scoreboard, beyond the lines. Out of the box, redefining the grind. The grind. Out of the box where the wild ones play, we see the game in a whole new way.
Hey, what is going on, everybody? You already know it is Wednesday night. It is 9:30. It is Cowboys Weekly. Of course, my name is Paul Spencer. That man right there is the man himself, Eddie Prather, my co-host. Eddie, what is going on a beautiful Wednesday night, brother?
Today's been not much. It's been a beautiful day today here in Tucson, Arizona. How about yourself?
Hey, I'm in cold weather, man. I mean, it's only September, Eddie. It's like almost like damn near 30 degrees today. It's 43 degrees right now in my beautiful near Pittsburgh area. But I want to make this show hot, so let's talk about some Dallas Cowboys. Eddie, of course, we did the post-game show last week against the Eagles, of course, on Thursday night, football season opener. Didn't go our way. We lost 24-20 there. I put 24 Cowboys, Eagles 24, because I feel the Cowboys should have won that game, Eddie. I'm going to put it right there for you, you know, even though we lost that game real quick, Eddie. But I know people are going to chime in and say, well, Paul, you got the score wrong. I think it should have been a little bit of flipped, Eddie, because there was 4 catches that I want to talk about real quick, Eddie, that did not happen. But how did you see the game, Eddie? Going in there, let's talk about spit bait. Let's talk about that real quick, Eddie.
I was in complete shock when that happened. I was like, did I see what I saw there? What a bonehead! I thought Jalen Carter had grown up from his days at Georgia, where he was known for being a meathead at times. I guess I was wrong.
Yeah, 100%, Eddie. I mean, you know, your best player on defense, Eddie. We talk about it. You know, a unique player like Jalen Carter, a veteran like Dak Prescott. You know, maybe Dak had a little intentions there because, you know, Eddie, we talked about this pregame. There was some beef between Jalen Carter and Tyler Booker, you know, internet vibe, whatever, you know, some BS beef talk there. But, you know, I went back and looked at this, Eddie, and I thought this. Maybe Jalen Carter was talking to Booker for Tyler Booker at first because Booker was right there in front of Dak Prescott. You know, maybe he was jabbing his jaw saying, Booker, I'm going to run all over you, ain't shit, whatever. And Dak Prescott, you know, being the veteran, he just came up, looked at him, spit on the ground. Very smart to spit on the ground, number one, you know, and then then Carter looks at him. Dak Prescott gives him the wink, Eddie, one of those. You know, like, okay, you rookie, I know you're going to fall for this. You're from Georgia. You ain't that smart. You're going to fall for this. And then he walks up and the spit happens. But, Eddie, what did you see in this? Because your best player on defense is taken out of the game prior to the entire game, Eddie. That's just – he gets out of the box idiot of the week. You know what I mean? He really does.
I think it's bonehead of the year.
I agree, 100%, 100%. I mean, real quick, Ryan Swoop checking in. He's like, good evening, guys. Hey, Ryan, how you doing? He says, Eagles, Eagles, Eagles fly, Eagles fly. Hey, we'll say it. You guys won. Not a big deal to us. But we'll talk about, Ryan, since you're on here, how do you feel, man? Was that game a escape, or was that game Dallas is good, but the Eagles are better? You know what I mean? Here it is right here. Dak laughed it off after he spit. Ryan, 100%. Did you see the wink, though? That was the kicker right there. When he spit, he just looked at Jalen Carter and says, okay, it's time for you to retaliate. Are you going to show some big balls here and retaliate? But that wink got me, Eddie. I didn't see it when it happened, but then I went back and watched it. I'm like, wow, Dak winked at him. I'm like, okay, we heard a spy gate. We've heard deflate gate. This was spit gate. Take the bait. Take the bait. Spit bait, Eddie. 100%. But Eddie, what bonehead move?
Jalen Carter was 10 yards away from Dak when Dak spit on the ground.
That's
what
the
kind of idiot?
Yes, he walked past Tyler Booker. He just barely lifted over him, like on the ground. And okay, to me, you know what? I'm a man. Somebody spit near me too. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of defense to it. But I got 52 other guys in the back of me that depend on me being the best player on the defense side of the ball. I can't be stupid, Eddie. Number one, you know, okay, fine. You know what? Maybe you call me a bitch, whatever. I ain't going to retaliate. But I'm here to win a game, number one. So, man, hats off to Dak Prescott. Great move, great veteran move. Spit bait won the game. You know, didn't win the game, but you know, talked about it. Yeah, he dapped his ass off also. CeeDee would have won it for the Eagles. CeeDee Lamb won it for the Eagles. Exactly. If CeeDee would have made the catches, which we'll get into, we'll talk in the first half of our show about the game last week. Eddie, what else did you see in the game, man? What our concerns was, will the offensive line hold up? You know, is the running game good enough? Is our defense good enough to control this offensive line that the Philadelphia Eagles have, of course? But, Eddie, I want to talk about Dallas Cowboys first, man. Dak Prescott, 21 for 34, 188, 5-yard option, you know, average, not great option throwing the ball there, yardage wise. QBR was pretty good there as well. But how'd you feel about Dak Prescott? Eddie, I'll tell you, there was some dime throws down the middle, man, in a window that I haven't seen this guy make in a long time, Eddie. He was accurate tonight, Thursday night.
He was very good. He was solid. He was making throws accurately that I haven't had seen in a while.
Agreed.
Just a good clean game out of him.
Agree, 100%. I mean, he was very accurate. Something even on the move, Eddie, he was throwing some balls. And the biggest thing to me, Eddie, he stood in the pocket this week, man. A lot of times he tries to climb the pocket, get out of the pocket, and that's when he makes the dumb reads or what have you. But man, that one throw down the middle, the beautiful, you know, almost catch by CeeDee Lamb. I want to say almost one of his almost catches. That ball was a beautiful ball where Jordan Davis was, you know, climbing down on him. He stayed in the pocket till the last second, threw the ball, and it was a beautiful, you know, in the window, almost catch for CeeDee, but he didn't catch it. But Dak Prescott gets my, you know, salute once again. He played a hell of a game. Ryan says Eagles didn't look good once Carter was DQ'd. It changed Dallas' whole game plan, but the Eagles did adjust. Listen, the second half, which we'll get to, the second half was adjusted by both DCs, okay? Eberflus and Vic Fangio were one hell of a defensive coordinator in that second half, Eddie, where you go from 7 possessions straight scoring-wise to basically a field goal versus field goal, and then nothing. That defense played well in the second half, both teams. But I don't – that question right there, Eddie, I don't think it would have changed much. Even having Jalen Carter out there, I still think we would have thrown the ball, ran the ball like crazy, Eddie. Do you agree?
I think so. I think that Schottenheimer is a man of his word, and he said he wants to run the ball.
Yeah, and I agree.
And I think,
go ahead.
I think Javonte would still would have gotten his yards because he would have been able to run the outside.
I agree. I mean, most of his carries were, you know, between the tackles on the opposite side over there. I mean, they ran toward the middle no matter what. And you guys still had Jordan Davis clogging the middle too. I don't think Schottenheimer would have abandoned a run. I mean, 15 carries for our star back, you know, Javonte Williams, 54 yards, 2 TDs, a long of 11, nothing really big there. But I don't think it might have changed, you know, the field positioning of the game maybe a little bit there, but I still think Dallas would have ran the ball because they did not abandon the run at all, Eddie. I mean, he was a bell cow. You really didn't run the ball. 22 carries a lot, but to me it was an average day on the run game for Dallas. But Javonte Williams, let's talk about him, man. We talked about him, Eddie. You know, what does he have left? Come out ACL, barely played. Well, played a lot last year, but really wasn't their bell cow. You know, lost the starting job basically end of the season. Got traded to the Dallas Cowboys on a 1-year deal. 15 carries, 54 yards, 2 TDs. I tell you what, the kid lowered his helmet, man. He ran between the tackles, Eddie. He looked good. He looked pretty good. What do you think?
Especially when he got inside the 5. Especially when he got inside the 5-yard line, where he manned up.
Agree, 100%. I mean, I didn't think he was going to be able to that. Yeah, I didn't think he was going to do that. But, you know, I think, honestly, Eddie, what really concerned me this week was Kevontae Turpin was seen on 2 sweeps. You know, you knew they were going to happen. They showed it once. They didn't run it. It was a little window dressing. Next time he ran it, 3 yards. The next one was 5 yards. 2 carries, 9 yards. I don't like that. I don't like him in the backfield. He's a window dressing guy in the backfield for sweeps. I don't like that. If you're going to give a sweep, give it to CeeDee Lamb, okay? A little bit more speed, a little bit more, strength-wise. I don't want Kevontae Turpin. The Eagles have a wide defense, Eddie, that's strong and fast. It doesn't help us when we run him. The other thing is Jaden Blue was out of this game. I think he is our lightning guy outside, pass catcher as well, even though, he does drop a lot of balls. I think he is a lot better in the backfield than what we have in a Kevontae Turpin. But Miles Sanders, man, 4 carries, 53 yards, 49 yards was long. Eddie, here's the thing. He had 1 carry for 49 yards. His other 3 carries were for 4 yards. I don't like him. And a fumble. A key fumble, Eddie. A 7-point, at least a 3-point cost, Eddie, on the team right there in point wise, off the board.
To me, that was more costly than the drop passes by Lamb, because we were inside the.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, at least it's 3 points from Aubrey, right? That would have been 24-23, but, going into the fourth quarter could have changed. Because, Eddie, you think about this, okay? We have Brandon Aubrey. We were down to the 45-yard line, Eddie, okay? There was a time where you can kick that ball from the 50 with Brandon Aubrey and get 3 points. Dallas wins by 2, and we're not talking about a Dallas loss. If they would at least got a field goal off that Miles Sanders fumble, that's 3 points, Eddie. This could have been a Cowboys field goal game and won the game at the end by a field goal, not a touchdown.
And I'm pretty confident Javonte was going to get a 3rd touchdown the way he was sprinting inside the 5-yard line.
My question to you is, okay, Javonte Williams is carrying the ball. He's the bell cow here. He's running the ball great, 2 TD, 1 TD at that point. But why are you bringing in Miles Sanders? He's a solid back. But, Eddie, you got to run with your bell cow. You got to go with Javonte Williams in the red zone. Not even the red zone. In the between the first and goal, second and goal, you got to be with Javonte Williams, right?
Go with the guy. Yeah, go with your cowbell running back, not a guy, not the speed guy.
I just didn't get that point. All right, let's move on to the wide receivers here, Eddie. Okay, Lamb had a great game on paper. On paper, Eddie, when you don't look at the missed catches here. 7 catches, 110, no TDs. His long was 13 yards there. Not a big day. Pickens 3 for 30. Nice, yardage there, 10 yards. Long of 15. Ferguson was caught 5 times for 23. Turpin 2 for 18. Javonte Williams in the backfield 2 for 10. And then you had Tolbert, 1 reception for 0 yards on a bubble screen. Other than that, Eddie, that's it for the wide receivers. Our wide receiving outside of a Lamb and Pickens, we have nobody really, honestly. I mean, that's what's hurting us.
I don't think Turpin was used correctly in the game.
No, I mean, Eddie, we talked about the pregame. When I did the pregame thing, I talked about wherever Adoree Jackson is, and that's where Lamb got his most of his catches, okay? Wherever he was, Lamb was in a slot. Lamb was on the outside against Adoree Jackson. Pickens was the same way. Well, here's the thing. I don't think Turpin was used the proper way because seeing what I saw, he could have burnt anybody on that field. Maybe not Quinyon Mitchell out there, but he should have been used in a significant different role where not in the backfield getting, sweeps. He should have been the motion guy coming across the field and going opposite across the field behind the linebackers and getting to the second level. I don't think he was used the right way, Eddie. When you only have 4 looks the entire game, Eddie, 4 looks for Devontae Turpin, who's a game breaker, that to me was something that I like Schottenheimer to go back and realize that he needs to get the ball to Turpin, because if he gets behind the second level, the linebackers say after 10 yards off, Turpin is a mismatch, Eddie. And to look at him 4 times was not the right look. That's just me. I mean, you had to look at him different other than running sweeps in the backfield, Eddie. You agree with that or no? I mean, that's what I saw.
I totally agree with. I totally agree. Move Turpin in the slot. Move Turpin deep, and move him around. Create some mismatches.
Exactly. I mean, you have to. Dallas was all about the mismatch. I mean, we talked about, Adoree Jackson, wherever he is. And then they moved Cooper DeJean on the outside, move, Adoree in the middle. And whoever was in the middle, that you got to eye that person down. I don't care if it's Turpin. I don't care if it's Pickens. I don't care if it's Ferguson. That is your mismatch. That's where you have to go. You have to go to it. But I don't think they took advantage at that point. Even what's his name? The guy from the Raiders, Bennett came over. Bennett made a couple of nice plays, but still, he's unproven out there. You got to attack him. You got to attack these guys. So, I mean, overall it was a good game, Eddie. On the offensive side of the ball, we did what we had to do. But defense, Eddie, man, I got to congratulate this defense, brother. I really do. I mean, to hold Barkley down to 60 yards, Hurts down to 60. AJ Brown, the one catch, 10 yards, and it was the last, 2 minutes of the game, 58 minutes of the game, and you held him off. Devontae Smith didn't catch anything as well. This defense, Eddie, my God, let's talk about this defense real quick. Leading tackler, Malik Hooker, who really didn't play safety. He actually played linebacker because they didn't throw the ball downfield because the front seven looked pretty good, Eddie. 9 tackles, 4 solo. Kenneth Murray, 9 tackles, 4 solo. Elam, 6 tackles, 4 solo. DeMarn Clark, 6'3". Jack Sanborn, 6 tackles, 2 solos. The 2 guys that I want to talk about, Solomon Thomas on the defensive line, Eddie. 5 tackles, 3 solos. And Sam Williams, he finally showed up, Eddie. 6 tackles, 3 solos. That surprised the hell out of me. I haven't seen Sam Williams, Eddie. It really did.
Maybe we can finally get a full healthy year out of Sam Williams, who showed a lot of flashes in his rookie year.
Yeah, his rookie year, Eddie. I mean, he showed out his rookie year. I thought he was going to be opposite, Michael Parsons, of course, that book in there, the way he looked. And then the injury happened and, a bad year off the injury. And then, he can't find the playing field. But, man, welcome back Sam Williams, man, because off the edge there, he is unstoppable. Even, man, let's talk about the guy, Kenny Clark. Kenny freaking Clark. Eddie, a lot of people say this. A lot of Cowboys people say this, Eddie, and we see it a different way. You lose one guy that can rush the passer, but you know what? Rushing the passer is one thing, but when you run the ball as a defense and you're looking at that, you need a guy in the middle to clog that up. Eddie, I'd rather have Kenny Clark than Micah Parsons because a sack looks good. It's a nice loss, but that's only going to happen 1 or 2 times a game. A rush defense like Kenny Clark happens on 3 of the 4, plays out of the 4 possessions every time. So I like Kenny Clark, Eddie. Holding Barkley down to 60 yards an entire game, that middle was clogged, Eddie. I love Kenny Clark's presence, especially next to Odigizua. It's something special.
And the best part is that we don't have to see Mozzie Smith on the field. That's the best part.
Yep. There's Stacy checking in. Stacy says, let's go Giants. Stacy, you know what? Get out of here, girl. Now, I love Stacy to death. We're definitely going to talk about that. Stacy, do your Giants have a chance this week? We're going to talk about in about 15 minutes here. Talk about the Giants, the Eagles, Giants, and the Cowboys, of course. Give me your predictions. DraftKings has Cowboys -5, over under 44.5. So let me know what you think the score is. And be truthful, Stacy. Be truthful, okay? Be truthful. But you're right, Eddie. I mean, man, Mozzie Smith. Now, the crazy thing is, remember how he said the 3rd preseason game, he played the entire game, Eddie. As a first-round draft pick, you're playing the entire preseason game, number 3, all 4 quarters. And then right before the game, you're inactive, Eddie. You're inactive. There's something about this, Eddie, where I don't know. Maybe he didn't get it. He didn't get the message. You played the final preseason game, but you're inactive. Eddie, I went back and watched that next Monday practice. He's out there playing. He wasn't hurt, Eddie. He wasn't hurt. I think this was a Schottenheimer call where I don't really need you. I don't care who you are, when you were drafted. I don't need you right now. I think it was one of those messages, Eddie, because they didn't need him. What was he going to do? Nothing, honestly. What do you think?
Uh, I would it surprise you if Mozzie is off the Cowboys before the end of the season?
You know what? If he's gone, Eddie, I mean, you got to trade him before the deadline, right? I mean, but honestly, Eddie, what is he worth though? Nobody's going to want this guy. I mean, he's a bust coming from Michigan, a high profile D lineman from Michigan. Hats off. This dude played hell of a ball at Michigan. Then he comes to the NFL. His first year, he didn't get it. He was the lowest asset on our defensive line, and then you're not even a healthy scratch. I don't even say healthy scratch, Eddie. You're inactive and you get your position taken away. You're not going to beat out O'Diggy. You're not going to beat out Kenny Clark. You're a rotation guy, but I don't think he's going to make this team because Eddie, you got Perrion Winfrey out there. Right behind these guys. You got some big boys out there. Jay Toya can outplay him, Eddie. You got players out there, but who's going to want Mozzie Smith? What is he worth? What is he worth in the trade market, Eddie? A fifth-round pick? But you still pay him $8 million this year. Is a fifth-round pick next year worth $8 million? I just keep him on the roster just in case.
The only team I could see maybe trading for him is his former defensive coordinator, now the Redskins head coach.
I don't even think he wants him. You know what I mean? Because he was, he had Mozzie his first year, Eddie. Dan Quinn had him here his first year. He knows what he is. Not the greatest player who got, beat out by other players. I don't think he wants him unless maybe Harbaugh takes him back, down, in LA out there. Maybe he can take him. Harbaugh.
Maybe Harbaugh can light a fire under him.
Maybe. I mean, different atmosphere means better things. I mean, you look at Pickens; he has his head on right. Different atmosphere. Different atmosphere with different teams, maybe. But I don't know, man. Mozzie Smith is. I'm glad he didn't play, honestly, Eddie. But the other guy I want to talk about, Marshawn Nealon, man, the only sack of the Dallas Cowboys. He showed up as well. Odigizua 3 tackles. James Houston 2 tackles, 2 solos. The one tackle that I want to talk about, Eddie. The fumble by Miles Sanders, it happened, of course, but the one tackle, Dak Prescott, one tackle that he's going to have this season was a game-changing tackle on Quinyon Mitchell. A lot of people don't realize that tackle saved 7 points, Eddie.
Dak Prescott's already a better tackler than Mozzie Smith, and he's the quarterback.
He has more tackles than Mozzie Smith will have the entire year in week 1 as a quarterback. Yes, you are right. You are 100% right, Eddie. 100% right. 100% right about that. That's an incredible stat. You're right, 100%. But I do want to flip to the Eagles real quick. I just want to go over some of theirs real quick. Jalen Hurts, 19 for 23, 153, no TDs, which is on the ground. He had 2, of course, 14 carries, 62 yards, 2 TDs. Barkley, this is where it gets interesting. Barkley, 18 carries, 60 yards, 1 TD, of course, but his only average was 3.3 yards, Eddie. That's something that's a win when you're playing the Philadelphia Eagles. Honestly, by yardage, off the line of scrimmage, that is a win. 3.3 yards after contact. Not even after contact, it was 1.1 after contact, which is very good. 38 carries, 158. But when you have a third of that by your quarterback, I take that as a win, Eddie. How do you feel about that D line shutting? I want to say shut down Barkley, but basically shutting him down to 60 yards.
The yards per carry is the stat I look for at a running back. To me, if you're under 4, then the defense is doing their darn job.
100%. You're correctly right. I mean, a lot of people look at, yards, 18 carries, 90 yards, 120 yards. To me, that one stat that I look at by defensive perspective is the average yard per carry. That's 3.3. The average in the NFL is about 3.5 to 4.4, but you got to boost it up when you're the Philadelphia Eagles because that offensive line is the best in the NFL. So to me, holding Barkley to 3.3, that's a win in my book, 100%. But I want to get to the wide receivers here, Eddie. This is where it gets really interesting. The one chunk play was actually to Jahan Dotson. That was Keelar Elam when he was on him. That was a 51-yard bomb. Nice throw, but Elam just got beat on the inside. That was very simple. That was their yak play there. Dotson was a yardage guy, 3 for 59, other than the 51-yard. He only had 8 yards on two catches after that. Goddard, we always know somebody's going to be open, and it's usually a tight end or the slot guy. Goddard, 7 for 44, long of 9, nothing big, kept everything between the sticks. Barkley, 4 for 24 out of the backfield. Devontae Smith, 3 catches, 16. Here's the biggest one. A.J. Brown, 1 catch for 8 yards. I mean, Eddie, was this the way we look at it? We look at everything. Was this just the perfect game plan against Jalen Hurts in the offense? Shutting down Barkley, on the inside, and AJ Brown on the outside, and Devontae Smith too. Only Eddie, think about this: 4 catches for 24 yards. Your top 2 wide receivers. What do you give more to? Bad game plan for the Eagles, or just great defense by Bland and Diggs?
Diggs and Bland were outstanding. They did their job. I don't think they could have played a better game than they did.
I agree. And you know what the thing is, Eddie? Okay, you take away Barkley on the inside. The only disadvantage we had was a spy on Jalen Hurts. That could have helped us the entire game. We didn't even do that between first quarter all the way to the end of the game. We didn't do it. I get that. But this defensive line, honestly, I'll be honest with you. I thought about this. I went back and thought about this, Eddie. If Parsons would have played the game, he probably would have got a sack. Okay, he probably would have got 1 at least. But, Eddie, that middle would have been wide open without Kenny Clark. It would have been a different atmosphere. You run the ball. You attack your best player. Parsons runs the edge. You're going to run the ball at him, right where Kenny Clark would be, right in that spot against Mozzie Smith. So, to me, I like this front 4. They got pressured. The linebackers stayed their zones. They committed to their zones. There was a couple point where on the release there, Jalen Hurts did get out because Dante Fowler didn't stay home. He didn't commit to the run game. He bounced inside. His eyes were on the handoff. Didn't happen. But this front 7 and the corners, Eddie, I think it was a perfect game plan by Eberflus. And I don't like Eberflus coming from the Bears last year. I thought he was bad for us, but hey, you showed me something with this team right here. But Dory Jackson, 7 tackles, Eddie, but here's the thing. He couldn't stick anybody, number 1. All his tackles were basically after catches, Eddie. You realize with that, like all his tackles were after the wide receiver caught the ball. So his tackles were really high. But this game plan, Eddie, how did you feel about this game overall before we get to the Giants game?
I think it was almost as good as the Cowboys. Couldn't ask for a better game for the Cowboys. I think most people were expecting a beating.
Agree, 100%. I thought this game, I had the Cowboys basically on our host pick. I did have the Cowboys winning. I did think they would have a chance, but my thing was, okay, they're getting 8 points, Eddie. They lost by 4. I get that. A loss is a loss. But to me, the Dallas Cowboys played a better game than the Philadelphia Eagles. CeeDee Lamb, I really don't want to get into it, Eddie. 4 drop balls, 3 of the balls that I say he should have caught easily. Those are CeeDee Lamb balls that he catches 9 out of 10 times. The last one, okay, I give it to you. You had to lay out for that last ball, but it was a perfectly thrown ball. The one down the middle, Eddie, in between tackles in a window, that is a catch ball by CD in his sleep. That is an easy ball. Any of those catches, Eddie, were first downs, moving the sticks, and that's all 3 of those catches were putting Brandon Aubrey in field goal range at the worst. Those right there were 9 points, Eddie, if you look at that. That last one was definitely an Aubrey field goal, but you needed a touchdown to get there. But you're down to the 20-yard line, Eddie, with that catch. You know what I mean? You're down to the 20 right there, but with 2 timeouts left and 2 minutes on the clock. So, I don't know, Eddie. How do you feel about CD, Eddie? Was he the one that let us down this week?
I think it was still the Miles Sanders fumble because we were at the very worst 3 points guaranteed, but I'm pretty sure Devontae would have gotten his 3rd touchdown there, and that would have put us up on them, and I think that would have changed the game a little bit.
Yeah, you're 100% right. That was one of the big ones too. That was at the 5-yard line, if I'm not mistaken there. That was easy 3 points. Either way, that's going to happen. But either way you put it, if he wouldn't have fumbled that ball, that's a guaranteed 3 points. And like I said in the beginning, Eddie, let's just say the Eagles stop us. It's 1st and goal. Miles Sanders doesn't fumble the ball. That would have been, was it on a first down, Eddie? That was on a first down too, wasn't it? Yeah.
I believe so.
Okay. Let's just say it was first down. The Eagles stop you there. Aubrey comes in on 4th down, kicks a chip shot, boom. Let's say, like, we don't know that score leading on to the forward, but right there, you're only down, really, you lost the game by 1 point. 23-24. But you're driving down where CD doesn't make that catch. You're still in Aubrey's range, Eddie. You're still in Aubrey's range 100%. Because to me, if it comes down to a field goal, I'm not throwing the ball deep to CeeDee Lamb regardless. I'm going to get me just another 10 yards. I'm not going to go for the chunk. I'm going to ask Aubrey, okay, where do you feel good at? What hash mark do you want? You want the right side, left side? Where do you want the ball? Either that or get a 5-yard run, Eddie. Put 4 wide out there and just run your back up the middle, get 5 yards, put Aubrey in position where it's lined up for him. Hash marks where he wants the ball, set up. Because, Eddie, we know he's good from 55, 60 yards. That is a game winner. Down 23-24, all you need is a field goal. It would have been different if Miles Sanders would have, controlled that ball. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. But, moving on to this week, Eddie, hey, listen, we're 0-1. We got to move forward. I want to move forward just like CD said. I put accountability on me. I got to be better. I let this team down. Those are balls that I catch, and I am going to prove myself. So this week, hey, Giants, I'm sorry. It's going to be on your team this week when CD goes off, and it's not going to be on VHSs like Dallas Cowboy usually is. It's going to be on a C-damn-D. So let's talk about this game real quick, Eddie. New York Giants and the Dallas Cowboys. Now, DraftKings has it, Cowboys -5, over under 44.5. Eddie, let's talk about this Giants team first. Quarterbacks, Russell Wilson, Jackson Dart, 54th man. We won't see him unless barring injuries, Jameis Winston. How do you feel about going this game against Russell Wilson? Didn't look great last week against Commanders.
I feel good again going against any of these quarterbacks because those quarterbacks are they're not going to have the time to throw the ball.
That is true. I mean, that is true, especially with Andrew Thomas being questionable. I haven't heard anything. I'm just going by what we have right now on active rosters. Of course, day of the game, we'll get inactives. As of right now, Andrew Thomas is off that left tackle edge. Well, guess what? The left tackle on our right side, opposite side, we have the best pass rushers on our team. Okay, we have Nealon back. We have Williams. We have Houston. I think those 3 boys can eat against Andrew Thomas or whoever is backup, which would be James Hudson. Number 1. So I kind of like that. Russell, I agree with you, Russell Wilson. I don't think it's going to have a lot of time. I really don't. How do running backs scare you? I mean, I tell you what, I'm just going to jump right to number 3. Cam Skattebo. Man, he was his Arizona Cam Skattebo, Eddie. He caught balls. He was running out of the backfield. He lowers his helmet. I mean, he was eating his lunch while he was running. This is a lunch pail runner, Eddie. This guy's good. How do you feel about Tyron Tracy and Devin Singletary and Cam Skattebo?
I think the running backs they have are really good, but they have no offensive line to get the holes open for them.
That's true. 100%.
Cam's finding out quickly that he doesn't have that ASU offensive line that he played behind.
Agree 100%. I agree with 100%, Eddie. I don't think this offensive line can really hold up. I mean, Theo Johnson, Andrew Thomas, John Runyon, Jingleheimer Schmidt, and Van Roten and Ilamura. I don't think this offensive line can handle what we have, especially coming from last week, what we've seen against a number 1 offensive line in the NFL, Eddie, a number 1 offensive line, and you still got, pressure. Your ball carry only has 3.3 yards in Barkley per carry. That's something. I don't think this offensive line will be able to control the front 7 for the Dallas Cowboys. I really don't. Their backups, I mean, you really think about their backups aren't that great. We've seen what Hudson last week. Hudson was bad last week. Stinney was bad. He didn't get to play. Austin Schottenman. And what's the other one? The right tackle was Margus Mabo or something like that. I don't think this offensive line can control Dallas's defensive line, Eddie. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, this message is for Danny boy. Danny, I hope Hudson has to start at least half the games this year for the Giants.
Hey, listen, with Andrew Thomas, you never freaking know. You know what I mean? Who the hell knows? But how do you feel about the wide receivers, Eddie? Malik Neighbors, Wan'Dale Robinson, Darius Slayton. This is the starters there. Their backups are Jalen Hyatt. I love Bo Collins from Notre Dame. I like him a lot. How do you feel? Because Neighbors looked so upset not getting the ball last week against, anybody with Russell Wilson.
Neighbors is the only guy that I know that I would want for sure. I need to see a little more. Rondale Robinson, he's not a receiver I would want on my team. I need to see a little more out of your boy from Notre Dame, Bo Collins, before I can really judge.
Yeah, I love Bo Collins. I think he should be probably a starter over one of these guys. To me, Slayton is a speed guy. I like him. I like Bo Collins over Robinson there. I think Bo Collins is that physical guy outside, runs runs his routes very well. I love him, and that's not just because I'm a Notre Dame fan. Just watching him play, his routes, I think he's a solid guy. But on paper, Eddie, I mean, Dallas is – but here's the problem, Eddie. Every year we always talk about Dallas's roster. 53-man roster, they're elite every year. Okay, elite doesn't mean anything on the field. I just don't want this Dallas team to play down, Eddie. I really don't, because we look at this game, our front seven, their offensive five on the line there, advantage Dallas, advantage quarterback Dallas. Just looking at their offense versus defense, our corners are better, okay, than their wide receivers. Our linebackers are better than our front seven are better than their front seven, Eddie. That's what I'm looking at. But is there any way that this offense for the Giants can score points on the Dallas Cowboys? I don't want to say score points, Eddie. I want to say stay up with the Dallas Cowboys scoring-wise. If this game gets in, the 20s, can the Giants score 20 to 30 points to stay up with the Cowboys? Can they?
I think we have the right coach to keep our team, the Cowboy players, from playing down to their level of their opponent. And I just don't think. I think the Giants, to me, would be lucky to get 9 points, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you, Eddie, 100%. I mean, we had, some great coaches back in the day, from Landry to Jimmy Johnson. And after that, it was just, Parcells was great too, with philosophy-wise. But then you go to Campo, people like that, the Clapper, Jason Garrett, and then even McCarthy. He talked about mojo, but I think Schottenheimer has this team with mojo built. I mean, he's building a philosophy in the locker room. You lose Parsons. Here's the biggest thing, Eddie, and this is why I 100% agree with you about that. You lose Parsons, your best player, locker room general, a favorite to everybody in Dallas Cowboy world, nation, locker room included 100%. But when you lose him and you come out with a division game and you play the way you did, that buys into a Schottenheimer system, Eddie. Everybody's playing as a 53-man roster. It's not one person's Micah Parsons. It's an entire 11-man defense that played that game. And, Eddie, they are building together. They bought into this system under Schottenheimer. And I agree 100%. There is no letdown of playing a lesser team like we've seen before. Last year, Eddie, Carolina, we struggled. We barely won that game against Carolina, a totally opposite team from us. We played down to their level. There is no playing down this year under Brian Schottenheimer. I agree with you 100%. But I want to get to the defense, Eddie. The Giants defense, on paper, man, they look scary, Eddie. They look scary, okay? On the outside, you got, Harris, Burns, Orike, Fadden, Thibodeau, and then you have Abdul Carter add there, and Chauncey Golden on the back end as well as a bench guy. That front seven, and I didn't even mention Roche, Nunez Roche as well. That front seven could be spectacular. But, Eddie, I didn't see it last week. I did not see this elite Giants defense that I thought I was going to see.
I think they played elite for the first 3 quarters and change, but then I think because they were on the field so much that they got worn down because the Giants offense was incompetent last week.
That's a good take on that, Eddie, because you going back and you look at that, that was our problem back in the day, Eddie, where our defense played very well under Dan Quinn's time there with us. But then you look at it, and go, why in the fourth quarter we're falling apart here? Why are we losing everything? All of our first and third quarters, why are we looking good then and then bad in the fourth quarter? Well, it's about running the ball. When your offense goes 3 and out, which the Giants did, they couldn't get momentum in the fourth quarter. Their defense was on the field so much. They were so tired. You're right. And that's why I hope this week that we don't throw the ball 900 times again. I don't want Dak dropping back 30 times this week. I don't even want to trying back maybe 25 at the most. I want to see this running game, Eddie, to keep the ball on the field, use the clock, wear down the defense, make them tired, because we have the horses, Eddie. We have the horses, and we have the defense to make them go 3 and out. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see from the Dallas Cowboys, because you think about their corners, Eddie, Cordell Flott, and then you have, what's his name, Adebo. I think we have the advantage 100%. Pickens and Lamb on those 2 guys, and then your nickelback is going to be Drew Phillips, Turpin, Tolbert, whoever you want to put out there. I kind of like that. I kind of like that on paper, Eddie, what we look like this week.
The Giants' strength is definitely their front seven.
It is, but I don't think their back end is that great, Eddie. I mean, Tyler Nubin and Javon Holland and the safeties. I think this week we're going to see even though CD came out with a bad game last week, dropping the balls, he wants to showcase what he has. I think, to me, Schottenheimer's talking to him, say, look, we know we're going to get you the catches this week. We know what you did last week. We're going to do that. It's going to make it right. But let's talk team first. Let's establish that run. We know we have Javonte Williams that can run the ball. Establish the run. Make those safeties come down the box, Eddie. Because that front seven, if you can run on that front seven, and if we can run on them, they're going to bring an extra safety down, put 8 down there, Eddie, to stop this run. And that makes it better for us going 3 wide. I think we're going to establish run here, get a good game off the run, and then go play action. And I can see these stroking one for probably 60 yards off of a play action right away when they crowd the box.
That's what I can see too. I can see even Pickens get a long touchdown catch too from a play, like you said, a play.
Yeah, I think it's going to be either one. Wherever the safety creeps down, the opposite side is going to be wide open. Because to me, Eddie, this is, yes, we know CeeDee Lamb is 1A, number 1, but I'm going to throw a Pickens in there, 1B, because the kid is good. He can fly, he can maintain a ball, he can high point a ball. He can beat basically any wide receiver or corner out there. There was a couple plays where Dak did miss him last week. He was going down the field. He was open, but he was getting pressure. But I get all that. But I think we can get the ball downfield, and they put the extra guy in the box. Even if they don't, wherever there's safeties at a disadvantage, that's where we're going to go deep, Eddie. And if we can get the ball in the second level to our wide receivers, Ferguson, maybe a Spawn Ford, Turpin, Tolbert, wherever you want to go, I think that's a key too, because I think the front seven is going to crowd the box a little bit. They might not rush and blitz every play, but if they do, there's going to be 2 back there out of position, and we can get back in the second level. That's where the game's going to be won as well. But I think we win the game off of rushing this week, Eddie. I think Schottenheimer just says, hey, we are going to run the ball, which we did. And a proving fact, if you can run on the Eagles defense minus Jalen Carter still, you can run on this defense too, because they are pretty much exactly like a mirror of each other, Eddie. Great defensive ends, great tackles up front, and big tackles in the middle. So I kind of like this game, Eddie. I really do. But I think Cowboys advantage 100%. What do you say?
I don't think there's going to be 44 points scored in this game. I think it's going to be like a game that's going to be fairly, I wouldn't say completely low scoring, but like in the middle. Like I can see like the Cowboys scoring like 24, because I think the Cowboys defense can help set them up in pretty good positions on the offensive.
So what do you think? Like Cowboys, 24? Cowboys 24, something like that, you said?
Yeah, 24 to 9, maybe. I just don't see the Giants offense doing much of anything.
Okay. I mean, to me, the only thing I got to comment here, Uncle Charles checking in. He says, what's up, y'all? How about them Cowboys? Checking in from UNC Birmingham, Alabama. Hey, appreciate you, brother. Thanks for tuning in, Uncle Charles. We'll definitely follow on you on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to us as well. Appreciate the love, brother. That's right. How about them Cowboys? You already know what's up. But here's my thing real quick, Eddie. Dallas Cowboys, man, they need to establish a run, number 1, because I know we can throw the ball, Eddie. We have the weapons to get the ball downfield. I get all that. But what scares me, too, is one thing. If it's a shootout, like you said, or I'm sorry, not a shootout. If it's a game won in the trenches here, I'm still, even though Javonte Williams had a great game last week, Eddie, I'm not 100% satisfied with what he can do week to week, though. That's my thing. If it's a close game, it is scary, of course. But to me, I don't know, Eddie. I think if it's a close game, it's going to come down to the defense. And, we already got bad news. Deron Bland is out 2 weeks, Eddie. 2 weeks. Now, that means Elam is going to be stepping up to the outside slot, okay, as your starting corner. Now, we know Rebel's not ready yet. That is a concern for me, Eddie, if you can't establish a run, if it's a close game, Eddie, I don't know how Dallas can maintain a running game if it's a close game and you've been shut down for 3 quarters. That's what scares me, because we've seen in the past, Eddie, we like to throw the ball, Eddie. We throw the ball downfield, and a lot of mistakes happen. One possession in a close game is a 3.7-point swing, which is very scary in a close game. That's my only concern, Eddie. We got to get up big, and then keep running the ball. Keep them off the field. Their offense doesn't scare me. It's their defense that scares me, Eddie. That's the thing with me.
If the Giants are going to score multiple touchdowns, it's going to have to be defensive touchdowns.
I think we're smart enough on offense not to give turnovers, Eddie, unless we have a bonehead mistake like Miles Sanders did. I can see if putting the ball on the carpet. I get that point, but I don't think this year, under the mentality of a Schottenheimer, who practices, technical scheme, uh, fundamental football 101. I don't see us doing that. That was a stupid mistake by Miles Sanders. Carry like a loaf of bread, great hit, but I don't see us fumbling the ball. I don't see them getting turnovers. I don't see Dak throwing a bad read, eyeing down somebody, throwing a bad read. I don't see that happening. But like I said, their defense is going to be the key of the game, how they shut down the Dallas Cowboy offense. I don't think we're going to have a problem on offense getting the ball downfield, but it's the front seven that scare me, Eddie. That's the thing, because I don't want to abandon the run. But then again, if it gets bad, you have to. You know what I mean? The way you have the advantage downfield, but still. But what is your final score of this game, Eddie? What do you think this game's going to be?
24-9.
24-9? Okay, wow, 24-9. Oh, and I got a little bit different. Of course, I got the Cowboys winning. I think the Cowboys, man, it's kind of hard for me to say because I'm going to feel it with my heart a little bit. I'm going to go Dallas 31. I'm going to go Giants 22, Eddie. I think they do probably if it's a blowout, I think they do get a charity touchdown at the very end. And it's probably going to be Russell Wilson not in the game. It's probably going to be a Jackson Dart, sighting. Maybe he gets in the game, lights something up. But I think the Cowboys win 31-22. How do you think the Cowboys score this week, Eddie? Who gets a touchdown this week?
I think Devontae gets at least one.
Okay.
And I think either Lamb or Pickens will get one. I think or both of them, and I could see maybe a Ferguson touchdown too.
Okay. All right. I agree with you 100%. I think the one guarantee this week is probably going to be a Lamb touchdown. I can see Lamb getting one, definitely in the end zone this week. I can also see Javonte Williams, the way he ran the ball in between tackles in the red zone last week was something that I haven't seen since, Marion Barber up the middle. Someone like that, a McFadden run the ball up the middle. I do think he gets in the end zone. I honestly think that, I don't know. I think the defense gets a touchdown this week, Eddie. I think we see a defensive touchdown this week. That front seven, I think it's going to be a strip tackle, fumble to the house. I think that's going to happen. I would like to see that because I haven't seen one in a long time. The last pick six I ever seen like that was Arbo Overshone. The tip against the Giants, wasn't it? If I'm correct. The pick six to the house. Yeah.
Was that the 42-0 game?
I think it was, the batted ball up in the air where he tipped it to himself and caught it and ran it, for 30 yards. I think the Dallas Cowboys do get a special teams touchdown, defensive side of the ball. I think it's going to be Lamb. I think it's going to be Javonte Williams. And you know what? That doesn't give me, I said 29, so there's going to be 4 TDs. Now, you know what? I think I'm going to give Aubrey 3 field goals, Eddie. 3 touchdowns and 3 field goals probably put me around 29, maybe. Roughly right in there somehow. But, yeah, I think the Cowboys win this game handily, Eddie. I definitely do. Bounce back game, but it's the NFC East, Eddie. Anything can happen. That's the scary point as well. You know what I mean? But who knows?
I just can't see the Giants scoring any touchdowns on the offensive side against the Cowboys defense that showed up last week.
I agree. Real quick, guys, our show tonight is sponsored by Jason Fine, 1-800-HURT-123, Attorney Big Al, motor vehicle accidents, slip and fall, workman's comp, personal injury claims. He has 3 convenient locations throughout Pennsylvania and New Jersey. First, New Jersey is Cherry Hill, 3 Greensward Lane. And also in Pennsylvania, it's my neck of the woods, Pittsburgh, PA, 500 Grant Street, and that ugly city called Philadelphia that we call Trashadelphia, where I lived there for 30 years, 1628 JFK Suite 2120. Make sure you reach out to 1-800-HURT-123, Attorney Jason Fine, Big Al, and make sure you use those magical words, out of the box sports entertainment. And I guarantee you, this is what you'll hear. No recovery, no fee if we take your case. And also, magical words get you a long way. Out of the box sports entertainment gets you 33 1/3% guaranteed rate off your case. Also, guys, here is our schedule for the week. We have something for everybody. Today we had the Batcave, 7 o'clock. I was on Props, Lock, and Parlays on Interrep Sports Network. Tonight, you already know, it's 9:30 Cowboys Weekly. Tomorrow, we have the Silver and Black Raiders NFL Weekly Talk. Monday night, Thursday night football preview and recap. College football frenzy. Giants Cowboys preview. We have it all everywhere. We have something for everybody. So make sure you tune in to Out of the Box Sports Network. YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter. We're everywhere. Subscribe, follow, tell a friend, share it to a friend. Hell, if your cat has freaking internet service, get the cat to subscribe too. We don't care. We love everybody. And real quick, I do got to say one thing real quick, Eddie. I got to say congratulations to you, brother, real quick. You won week 1 of our Out of the Box Sports Entertainment Host Challenge pick. So you and Michael Papernick, one of our best fans out there, checks into all our shows. He and you came in first place this week. You guys hit 11 games this week. There's a big tie at 10, and Stacy, of course, brings up the rear. Nothing unusual in third place with 6 points. So, Eddie, congratulations, man. You're in first place. This week's coming up here. We'll see how you keep that first place lead, but just let you know I was stupid, and I picked hometown Dallas Cowboys as my loss, so I could have been tied in first place with you guys, but wish you well.
Stacy's just living up to her New York Giants there.
Exactly. I've known Stacy God since, man. I met Stacy in late 80s when we went to school together in Japan. I've known her for almost 40 some years. 4 decades I've known Stacy, and nothing's ever changed. You know what I mean? She's always been in last place, but love her to death. But we'll see. Maybe, hey, you never know, Eddie. Anybody can start out slow and get to the playoffs and win it all. So we will never know, Eddie. But hey, tomorrow night, Eddie, listen, we got this show tomorrow night. It's a big game tomorrow night, Thursday night preview. The Giants. The Giants. The Giants ain't even worthy to play. The Packers with that guy named Micah Parsons is playing tomorrow night against the Washington Commanders. Eddie, real quick, how do you see that game folding out, man?
I think it's going to come down to a field goal.
Field goal. Who you got winning that game, though?
I think I have the Packers. I've been thinking about it. I think the Packers are going to win that game.
Yeah, I got the Packers in a close one. I got the Packers in a close one, too. Yeah. Yep. And also after that, guys, right after the show, 30 minutes after the show, it's not going to be on 11:30 because last week we did a show on the Cowboys game, Eagles. That game was, of course, with a lightning delay, which caused 30 minutes. But we will be on 30 minutes after the game tomorrow night. And also, guys, really quick, where's that little layout here? I got to get that one up there because it's one of my favorite damn shows that we do right here. Friday night, here it is. Friday night, Friends, College Football Frenzy, 7 p.m. Myself and Eddie. We're definitely going to talk about some games this week. Eddie, real quick, as we portray into that, real quick, what is your game of the week on college football, man?
All right, Notre Dame against Texas A&M.
You already know, Eddie. I can't wait for that game, man. I'm kind of curious to see because Connor Wegman, a transfer, over to Texas from Texas A&M to Texas A&M this year. He's a great quarterback. He's a dual threat playing Notre Dame. Notre Dame still hasn't had that identity, Eddie. So as a Notre Dame fan, man, I'm kind of scared of this game. The only good thing is being home. That's the only thing I can think of. But can't wait for that game. And, if you're a Notre Dame fan out there, check it out. Here it is. Post-game show every Saturday, 11 a.m. and 30 minutes after the game. If you like what you hear, I'll be with you guys as well. Notre Dame, Golden Dome podcast. So we will see. Well, you know what? Speaking of Stacy, she asked the question. What do I get for last place? Stacy, well, first she says Eddie, and then she says, what do I get for last place? Stacy, I'm going to give you something. Well, you have to finish last for the whole season. We're not doing weekly awards, but if you finish last for the season, I'm going to give you something that you've always wanted your entire life. I am giving you an 8x10 autographed picture of me, okay? Something you've always wanted your entire life. That's what you're getting for finishing last place, Stacy. And that, to you, is winning it all. That's like the Giants winning the Super Bowl. So I'm just saying that's how nice I am, Stacy. But Eddie, we're gonna go ahead and get out of here, brother. Anything you want to say to the Cowboys Nation out there before we get out of here, man?
Go Cowboys! Screw the Eagles! Screw the Commanders! Screw the Giants!
There we go. Hey, my name is Paul Spencer. My final thoughts real quick. Hey, Cowboy Nation, we lost last week. Shoulda, coulda been. Coulda, coulda, woulda, but we didn't do it. But hey, listen. They showed me something, heart, dedication, fundamental football. We do have a 53-man roster that's minus one person, and I don't care where he's at. He can play tomorrow night. We are a 53-man roster of one, helmet on helmet, 11 on 11 football. I like what we see. So go Cowboys. Let's beat the Giants this week. Let's get 1-1 in the division. Let's start moving up because there is light at the end of this tunnel, man. And I can see it with the Dallas Cowboys here. I know we always say every year is our year. This might not be our year, but we look pretty damn good in week 1 for what we show out to be. So, and then Stacy says, no, thank you. That's right, Stacy. I did send you one last year for your birthday. So you don't want that picture. I get it. But Stacy, love you. She's, I've known her for God so long, love her to death. But Eddie, you ready to get out of here, man?
Yes, I am.
All right. So Eddie, what was the final score you got real quick tomorrow for Sunday's game?
24-9.
24-9. Okay.
Dallas.
I got 29-22 Cowboys. So, guys, this is Cowboys Weekly. My name is Paul Spencer. That is Eddie Prather. This is Cowboys Weekly on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, on that channel called Out of the Box Sports Entertainment. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. And we will see you next Wednesday night talking about a Cowboys win against those damn New York Giants. Until then, have a good night, everybody.
Getting strong, let's break the mold. Chasing the stories yet untold. Passion ignites like a blazing fire. Knowledge takes us higher, higher. Out of the box where the wild ones play. We see the game in a whole new way. Living loud, hearts in motion. Sports with soul, pure devotion. The field's alive with endless dreams. We're more than stats, we're the in-between. A slam dunk thought, a touchdown mind. Out of the box every time.